Sai Ram. It was the 20th of October 1988. It was the day of Vijay Dashami, the grand culmination of the 10-day Dussera festival. For those of us who are familiar with Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba and his life, we know how much importance Swami gave for this festival of Dussera, especially the Vijay Dashami day. Swami would conduct the grand Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yagna and the Poornahuti, or the final oblation, the final offering to this Yagna, where Swami himself would stand as the Veda Purusha and receive the offerings, would happen on the Vijay Dashami day. And on this day, all the inmates of the ashram, all the residents of Puttaparthi and people from all across the world thronged to this place to witness this grand culmination of the Yagna and listen to the magnificent discourse that Bhagawan delivers on the day of Vijaya Dashami. That day, on the 20th of October 1988, one of the people in the audience was Brigadier S.K. Bose. As his name suggests, he was a brigadier in the Indian Army and he was a very, very accomplished engineer. In fact, he is credited to have built the magnificent Sarva Dharma Stupa that adorns Puttaparthi Prashantinilayam today. Now, how that happened is a miracle and a beautiful experience in itself, and it has been documented in the link above. Now, Brigadier Bose had not been feeling well for the past few days, but on this Vijayadashami day, he felt some strength and he felt that his fever had gone, and not wanting to miss darshan, sparshan and sambhashan on this magnificent day, he made his way to the Poornachandra auditorium where this yagna was in progress. It was around 7:15 am when he took his seat in the front. He had a special place because, as I said, he was a chief engineer and Swami gave him many projects to accomplish, and he would do it in record time with utmost humility and faith in Bhagawan. A few minutes after he was seated, Bhagawan arrived on stage, and then he witnessed the grand Poornahuti of the Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yagna. After the Poornahuti, Bhagawan sent all the priests to the Chitravati river. The practice was that they would fetch the holy Chitravati water, and that consecrated water Swami would sprinkle on all the people who had gathered in the hall. So as the priests left, they would take some time to walk up to the Chitravati, do the rituals there and get the water, right? So Swami began his divine discourse. He started with a poem saying, good deeds and bad deeds, good behavior and bad behavior, man can choose. But what nobody can escape is the results, the fruits of those actions, the fruits of those behaviors. Now, as Brigadier Bose sat listening to this discourse, he suddenly felt his whole body go stiff. He felt himself slipping down from his seat, and he saw that Swami too had stopped his discourse. And Swami seemed to be waving and shooing away something in the air. And he looked up and he saw a magnificent golden brown bird, so huge that Brigadier Bose began to wonder, how on earth did this bird get into the auditorium? And it was flapping its wings. It was barely about 6 to 10 feet above him. And Swami seemed to be shooing away this bird. This bird had a white streak across its chest, across its breast, and it was golden brown in color. What was this bird? What was happening? Was Brigadier Bose hallucinating? Or, as is the case with things that happen in Swami's presence, was this another magnificent moment of his story? Brigadier Bose found himself prostrate on the ground, lying on his back and looking up at this magnificent bird. He was wondering what's happening and he just could not make any sense of it. The next moment, Brigadier Bose saw Swami standing beside him, making him sit up, holding his hand behind his head. and he suddenly saw that the bird was gone. So he immediately turned to Swami, folded his hands and tried to touch Swami's feet. Swami then gave him a hard pat on his back with his right hand, and Brigadier Bose suddenly felt a surge of energy. And Swami said, "Stand up." Brigadier Bose obeyed. Swami then pointed to a window on the stage, and Swami said, "Climb up the stage, go there and sit by the window so that you will get some fresh air." And that is what Brigadier Bose did. He got up, walked around 25 feet, climbed up the 5 large wooden steps and sat by the window. Meanwhile, Swami also walked back onto the dais and stood behind the mic where he was delivering the discourse and continued with the discourse. Swami sang out another poem in which he asked, "Who is the one who has given digestive organs and the power of digestion to man? Who is the one who is the author of man's birth and death? Find out who that is, and then you will have real wisdom." That was the message Swami delivered, and Swami continued to say, "Time is very precious. Don't waste even a single moment. Spend every moment trying to find this out." And Brigadier Bose listened to not just that poem, but to the entire discourse. And then after the discourse, though he was nearing 80 years of age, he walked back comfortably to his room, and it was all well. Of course, the next day he again developed fever. It was diagnosed as typhoid, and then Swami advised the doctors what medicine to be given to him, and within 2 days he recovered. But it is interesting to know what happened at that moment when Brigadier Bose saw that magnificently large bird. Interestingly, a couple of months later, when the sports meet, the annual sports and cultural meet was held on the 11th of January, as it always happens, Brigadier Bose saw that the torch vehicle that year was the exact same bird that he had seen, a golden brown bird with that white streak. And he asked the students, "What is this bird?" They said, "This is Garuda, the mount of Lord Vishnu." And that is when he realized that he had seen Garuda in the Poornachandra auditorium. Now, let us see from the eyes of 2 doctors, Dr. Chari and Dr. Patel, who were very close to Brigadier Bose on that day, the 20th of October 1988. Now, what happened is, as Brigadier Bose sat and Swami began his discourse, the Brigadier had a severe and massive heart attack, which made his body stiff, lifeless, and slide down. He became prostrate on the floor. Immediately, Dr. Chari and Dr. Patel rushed to him, and feeling his pulse, they saw that Swami had paused his discourse and was looking at them. And they indicated to Swami, "Life is gone, there is no life there." Swami immediately walked down the stage and came near him. And as Swami walked, his right fist was clenched. It was as if Swami is holding something very tight. All the way from the stage, Swami came like that, holding it. And then Swami raised the head of the prostrate Brigadier Bose. And to the back of the head, Swami punched him as if he was inserting something back into the head. And that moment, Brigadier Bose came back to life. It was very evident to the 2 doctors that Swami had held the prana, the life force of Brigadier Bose, brought it back and punched it back into him. And now this feeble and weak Brigadier Bose, this was the moment when the bird was gone. Garuda had come to take the life. It is evident that this life was a very noble life, a noble birth, and that is why Garuda had come to receive. But then Swami decided that the time was not yet up, because Brigadier Bose still had things to do for him. And that is why Garuda was sent back and life was put back in. In order to reinforce him with strength, Swami once again punched him on his shoulder, and that is when he felt energized, and the rest of the story I have already narrated. This whole experience has been narrated by Brigadier Bose and his Colonel Bose and many others. In fact, it has been recorded by the author himself in the special issue that was released for Swami's 65th birthday celebrations. And of course, there are many others too who have documented this miracle of resurrection. Dear brothers and sisters, when I listened to this miracle, when I read about this miracle, definitely it thrilled my heart, because the one who grants life and the one who is the master of death, Kalaya Namaha, Kalaya Namaha, Kalatitaya Namaha, that is Swami. He is with us. That is what thrilled me. But you know what thrilled me even more? I was just thinking, look at this. The death, it is said, the way one leads one's life can be understood from the way one dies. This was possibly the most noble kind of death. On the Vijay Dashami day, you know, there are different dates as per the Indian calendar which are considered auspicious, inauspicious. If you want to do this, you check this or not. One day, one special day on which anything becomes auspicious is the Vijay Dashami day, because it is considered so sacred and holy. It is the day when Rama returned back to Ayodhya victorious after killing the demon Ravana. It is associated with multiple avatars. It's a very, very holy day, and giving up life on that day is extremely special and blessed. And not just that, having Garuda, the mount of Lord Vishnu, come flapping wings to take you. Wow, what could be a grander exit from this world to go with the Garuda? Wow. And yet, Swami, who is always having our highest good in his heart and mind, decided that Brigadier Bose should not leave on that day. Which means that the life that Brigadier Bose was going to lead after that day was, for his soul and for his life, more blessed, more special and more significant and more auspicious than a death on Vijay Dashami day being taken by the mount of the Lord himself, Garuda. That thrilled me, because that made me realize what is the auspiciousness, what is the grandeur, what is the magnificence, and what is the holiness of living in Sai's presence. That is the magical, magnificent opportunity that all of us have got. Dear brothers and sisters, let us not think that this is only living in the physical presence. Living in Sai's presence means living every moment being aware of him above us, below us, around us, and within us. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to you for this wonderful opportunity that we got to know you, that we recognized you, and that we have accepted you as the Lord of our hearts and Lord of our life. Dear Swami, may our love for you keep growing every passing moment. May we love you and love you till our last breath, till the last beat of our heart. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.